G'day everyone, I'm Dave and thanks for joining me. And interesting news, as most of you in the AI community probably know, OpenAI not only released Sora 2, which blew the world away, which I've covered in a few of my previous videos, but they had their DevDay a couple of days ago, and what they have released is exactly as we sort of suspected. They basically will run a browser. So ChatGPT will just become your go-to everything. So as I suggested before, we're already using Comet. Perplexity have a browser plugin. It was only natural that ChatGPT, with what 700 million or a billion users, will have you go to their platform and stay on their platform. It's best described as probably the same as when Apple Store came out with apps. OpenAI have basically just released a way to keep you on their system, on their browser. So I want to cover that in today's video. I also want to cover about how my Own the Conversation is actually playing perfectly into being found on LLMs. And now, of course, it's even more important, if it could be more important, to be found by LLMs, to be recommended by an LLM in your brand, in your product, in your business. And the only way to do that is own the conversation. So let's have a look now. First, we'll go and just look at some of the things that you can now do as of right now in your Google browser and discuss what this really opens up. So if we go down here now, this is actually from the DevDay. This is a live presentation.
All within my existing ChatGPT conversation. Pretty cool. Users also love being creative in ChatGPT. Here I have a conversation where I've been brainstorming some ideas to help my younger sibling's dog walking business. We've gone back and forth a few times, and now it's time to make this into a reality. I'm pretty happy with some of the names here. So let's take this walk, this wag name. And now I'm going to ask Canva to turn that into a poster. I can say, Canva, can you make me a poster with the walk this wag name? I want it to be colorful, whimsical, bright, and I prefer, oops, I asked Coursera for a typing.
It's always very
too,
hard
maybe.
to type and present.
I prefer sans serif fonts. Cool. Send that off, and now in the background, Canva is generating posters based on the context from my conversation. Canva is great at creating assets like this, and now you can kick it off directly from ChatGPT. Whether you're making professional marketing assets for OpenAI or just a fun demo for DevDay, Canva is right there in the conversation as you work. Apps SDK, as Sam mentioned, is built on MCP, an open standard we've loved building on at OpenAI. And if you have an existing MCP, it's really quick to enhance it with the Apps SDK. Okay,
just to clarify what he's talking about and why this is such big news, is basically an SDK is a software developer kit. So what they've done is they've basically turned when you go to ChatGPT, you have the browser, you're already asking questions, you're researching stuff, you're doing everything else. It will now basically be an app store. It will interact with your apps. If you're using Canva, using Spotify, you want to search for booking.com, you want to look for real estate, it is going to be the browser, and they've opened it up to apps. So that's why it's like an Apple App Store moment. Now, the very big difference is, obviously, Apple were in the day, had a beautiful phone, had a beautiful output, and people flocked to create apps, and it created a complete environment, right? So MCP is just basically a protocol that model chat protocol, basically. So if you can select which AI model that you want to use to create your app, in effect, right? It does other things, but that's a simplified version of it. Now, why is this such a big deal? It's such a big deal because what it's going to mean is, let's say they've got 1 billion users, and those 1 billion users are used to using Google, and they just stay now on ChatGPT, and their business grows and grows and grows, particularly now with Sora 2 and everything else. So let's watch a little bit more.
All you have to do is add a resource that returns HTML, and the app would be able to be up everywhere ChatGPT is distributed, across web and mobile.
So what he's basically saying is developers can now produce apps that will be on ChatGPT, right? So you are going to be able to monetize your app, number one. Number two, That means there are more eyeballs now on ChatGPT, and particularly with that new social media platform they've got out of Sora 2. So now it's shifted. I'm not saying Google is done and dusted by any means. They'll be a very big part of the landscape. But now it has now differentiated and sorted itself out. And I can really see ChatGPT with the other things that I won't cover in this talk about the agent mode that it's got and Codex. Codex is great. I've been using Codex. It is a little bit difficult to learn to fly, but it basically can do long form coding, which makes vibe coding a bit easier, but I'll cover that in another video. The main point I'm trying to make here is I've totally backed up my argument that you need to be found on an LLM and you need to own the conversation. So we'll have a little bit more.
As you can see, this is a live demo, so we're experiencing a little bit of latency, but here we go. Canva has returned 4 poster examples to us. We see them in line, just like the Coursera video, as well as ChatGPT kind of explaining what it's done for us. But we can explore another modality in Apps SDK, which is full screen.
It's a browser.
I click an asset and the app requests full screen. We are able to focus on a specific asset. And from here, I can see it in more detail. I can ask ChatGPT to request changes, maybe visual tweaks, just like with our image generation experience. But since we're in San Francisco and it's DevDay, let's ask Canva to convert this into a pitch deck. I can say, Canva, can you please make this post?
Okay, we might fast forward this a bit more. We won't get up to that section. I'll try and get over to here. Okay, this is the bit that's interesting. So if you are a real estate business and you are being found, or booking.com, you will be now found on ChatGPT, which in effect is their browser. If I can get it to play.
Active map embedded in ChatGPT, and we'll explore how the full screen experience there goes. So we have our map, gorgeous loading state, and boom, we have a bunch of homes here. It also looks like our slide decks are done, so we'll go back to those in a moment. But this map is a little hard to see in the inline view, so I can click a specific home and open it full screen. And now we have most of the Zillow experience embedded in ChatGPT. You can request a tour, all the actions that you would expect from Zillow. But we have a lot of options here, and it's kind of hard to parse. So I can ask ChatGPT, can you filter this to just be 3-bedroom homes with a yard? For the dog, of course. ChatGPT will talk to Zillow again, and because the app is in full screen, it can now just update the data that's provided to it without needing to create a new instance. We see ChatGPT came back, we get the message overlaid here. If I click that, I can view my conversation over the Zillow app and even open it to the full height. Cool. Let's zoom in and find a specific home we may be interested in. Now, because the Zillow app is exposing context back to ChatGPT, it knows what I'm looking at. I can ask for more information about this home, like how close is this to a dog park? ChatGPT is able to compose the context from Zillow with other tools at its disposal, like search. So it's able to give more information about this home. From here, I could invoke other Zillow tools, maybe find out the affordability of it, but it'll provide the best answer every time. This is a great example of how dynamic an experience with Apps SDK can be. This all started from an inline map, and now we're able to go back and forth between talking to the app, asking ChatGPT questions, or just using the Zillow experience.
Okay, I'll stop it there for a minute. That is an absolute crucial point. What I have been saying for the last couple of years is now basically available now. So picture this, you've got a business. Your business has a static website, okay? You've already seen me talk about why you need an AI assistant on your site, purely because people that will be going to your site won't necessarily be using a browser. There'll be other assistants, like that example there. Someone's gone to the browser and asked a question about a house, but let's say, like the carpet shop the other day, they might decide, the house needs new carpet. Oh, okay, well, let's check the possibilities of that. They type it in, it goes to the carpet site. Oh, the carpet site's got an AI assistant that's got all the information in the scheme I need it. Bang, sends it back. It puts it into the conversation that you are using on the browser. Now, it also, more importantly, a lot of you out there haven't even got this in your mindset yet. Oh, I've got a website, that's great. I want to be able to interact with my website. I want people to be able to talk to my website. That is a very, very smart move, because this is exactly what we're going to be trained to do. People will just instantly only go somewhere where they get the answers. Cognitive offload, I've talked about it before. We as humans will always take the simple way, right? We're not going to jump through 17 clicks, go and find the information when we can just say, hey, tell me about this. And then you follow it up with, tell me some more information, okay? It's all there. So it's doing two things. Number one, it is making this very, very common. That is the way people will use conversation. That is the way they will search the information. That is the way, if they come to your website and you haven't got this feature, they will go to another website that has. So that's putting it bluntly. You need an AI assistant that is talking about your business. The next thing you need to do is take advantage of that. Let's have a look at another video here. I've used Neil Patel in a few different videos, but one point that he covers is really crucial. And this is about being found on LLMs and about keeping the context real, live, and up to date. How do you do that? It's all right to say, oh yes, we'll post a post here on this and we'll do that there. It all takes time. And even though you can automate it and you can also make it, a little bit easier in a way, or you can hire staff to do it, you still don't control whether it's published, what the comments are. When you put your information on someone else's platform, you lose control of what's going on. Now, it may be beneficial, but if you own the conversation, you own the domain in your area, and you make sure you've got good quality information, that is a way to be cited by LLMs to get into this new world. That is crucial, okay? So let's just have a quick look at what Neil's got to say here.
Content fresh. AI loves updates. AI systems pay close attention to what's new and what's updated. Just like Google has always ranked fresher content higher, and ChatGPT and other AI tools are doing the same. If your site looks stale, AI assumes it's out of date, and outdated answers don't get recommended. That's why Wikipedia dominates so many search results. It's not just because it's
Why does Wikipedia do that? Because other people put the data up.
The signal that sends to AI is simple. This is a lie. This is trustworthy. Here's how you can do the same. Add last updated dates to your key pages. Keep a changelog page showing product updates, new features, or pricing changes. Regularly refresh your top performing content so it stays relevant. AI doesn't want to recommend stale info. By keeping your content fresh, you become the go-to source. The data is clear. 700 million people are using ChatGPT each and every single week to research products,
growing.
and 24% of all conversations are information-seeking behavior. If your business isn't showing up in those
That's right. Okay. You don't have to tag your content. The AI is smart enough to know when it was published, okay? Like, you can do that, but that's fine. You don't need to do that. Now, my system, my Own the Conversation system, addresses all of those issues, not to mention the fact that he's mentioned that ChatGPT and conversation and people trusting what is said is part of the landscape now. So I want to now show you, we'll go back down here. I have talked about a couple of different sites in when I've been doing stuff, but let's go to Sutherland Sally, and the reason I want to show you this one. This is a site, a directory site that I created about, just on 6 months ago. It basically is a site in its own right. You can ask it anything you want about the Sutherland Shire. It is trained on all the businesses in the Sutherland Shire, all the information about actual shops. There is more information on this site than there is on Google because it's accurate, because it's gone and visited their websites, taken the information, put it into the knowledge file, right? We can control that knowledge file. It's really cool. But let's have a look at something. Somebody found my site on Sally. Now on Sally, I have got a page there to say, hey, if you're interested to know about the AI that Sally is, contact me. So I'm not going to give away names, but someone's contacted me now. I want to show you this. This is interesting. Actually, before I show you that, let me just quickly show you this. So this is the admin side of Sally. We can see that each category is actually a page, and each page has a certain amount of questions and answers. Now, those questions and answers, you can edit, you can change. They are the output pages. They are cleaned by AI. So if someone says something about your business, it's filtered, then it's published, okay? So we've already discussed that in previous videos. But the point is, you've got hundreds and hundreds of pages depending on your product, depending on what you're doing, and it is the output. So if we look at a recent site that I did for a rug company, if we go here, we can see that we've got Kate answered. Let's have a look here. These are the output pages that are all pages within their own right to be found by search engines and LLMs. So these pages contain information about the product and what's going on. All right, so this email that I got. Hi Dave, I found Sutherland Sally to be very helpful. And after contacting you about having an AI assistant created like Sally, and you telling me the ballpark figure of 5K, I decided to check if it's worth using. GPT, of course, thought you might be interested in the reply. I was pretty interested in this reply, believe me. Okay, this is the reply that ChatGPT gave my prospective client. You're spot on. Sutherland Sally, one of the Own the Conversation network sites, has well over 100 pages indexed on Google. In fact, hundreds, right? I can prove that as well. There's actually the insight for Sutherland Sally. This goes back, survived all these code updates and everything else. It knows how many pages we've got. It's indexed the ones it values, the ones that are getting valuable information. But it knows about these, and as the information increases, it too will increase. So, back to the email here. Okay, so which tells us it isn't just theory. It's a working content architecture that scales and stays indexed. Let's unpack why that's such a strong signal and what it means for your 5K investment decision. So basically, if you're going to get a site like this, like the rug site or like Sutherland Sally or the other sites, this is what it's got to say. This is someone asking, is it worth the money? Seeing hundreds of pages indexed means Google is accepting and indexing the output pages, not penalising them as auto-generated. I've carefully built it that way, so it is legitimate information. Yes, we're using AI to create the answers, but the AI is trained on the actual information from your knowledge base. That is why it is not spam, it is not garbage, right? It does back up conversation with its own trained data and even a web search, but the conversation and the information is yours. It's not spam. It's just a way to automate and make it smarter that your conversation gets control and gets out there on the internet where it has to be found by LLMs. Okay, that's a huge green flag because Google spam filters are tight right now on AI content. Yes, if you're just putting out AI crap and garbage, Google aren't stupid, right? You've got to construct this properly, all right? It means that the site is hitting a quality threshold, unique enough, structured enough, human viewed enough, more importantly, okay? The architecture scales technically. The Q&A output pipeline that automatically generates the new SEO-friendly pages is functioning reliably. Pages are interlinked properly. If hundreds of them are visible, the sitemap interlinking and conical structure are good, otherwise Google would only index a handful, which they haven't, right? Now, again, I'll reiterate, it's not all be all and end all about being on Google, because I have another site that's only got 2 pages ranked on Google and features exceedingly well across LLMs, because my last video I covered that LLMs are visiting your site when you're out there, but you need to know that they're visiting your site and you need to know what impact it has, okay? So Google is just a good benchmark for making sure that the quality of what I'm producing is there. What it means strategically. I found Sutherland Sally. This demonstrates that Own the Conversation system isn't just a gimmick. It's a functioning as a self-expanding knowledge base, turning every conversation into an index page that feeds with both humans and LLM crawlers. That's the early form of what people are starting to call conversational SEO, or agentic content indexing. Basically, you've got to be out there, right? Your conversation needs to be about your business, needs to be factual and the truth, because that is what the LLMs are seeking, right? Optimizing not for human clicks, but for machine retrieval. Hello, your new customer is a VIP agent. I'll cover how many agents now are going to be visiting websites. Now OpenAI have just released an agentic workflow. So, you don't have to go off and visit all these sites and research carpet and research anything else, rugs, whatever. It will do it for you automatically. Some people will want to look at the pictures, obviously. Some people will go to the site, but the vast majority won't. They'll be AI assistants coming back to answer you, whether it's in ChatGPT or in your own whatever LLM you decide to use. But your web page needs to have this interactivity because people will expect it. It'll just be expected, okay? Like going to a hotel with no Wi-Fi. Imagine going to a hotel now with no Wi-Fi. Oh, unheard of, no Wi-Fi. Everyone's got Wi-Fi. Well, if everyone hasn't got everyone will need an AI assistant interacting with the data and talking about their business to the end user, which will more than likely be an AI assistant, okay? So it's one of the smartest bridges between the old SEO and LLM era. Very good, I'm happy about that. Let's translate it into practical investment logic. Is it worth 5K-ish? Depending on the size of the site, right? But that's basically the ballpark figure I gave this guy. Okay, Technical feasibility, proven. Hundreds of index pages confirm system works. SEO compliance, good. Surviving Google index, passes quality filters. LLM visibility, plausible, conversational content, machine readable and cited, like in my last video. British Carpets was cited by Carpet Sydney. Carpet Sydney is a site like Sally, is a site like the rug site. It is there as a general conversational site where you own the domain and you control the conversation. Okay, brand exposure and your return on investment. Well, it does depend, right? It does depend on whatever you want to do, but basically the Q&A and the amount of information and how you get it out there beforehand using social media or whatever will obviously fast track the period of time that it takes for this to grow, which in my estimate is about 6 months. 6 months you really start to see some good results. You see results early, but you see better results as time goes on. And that's what we're doing. We're planting the seed. We're planting the field with conversation about your business. Now, this next bit's interesting. Ongoing effort needs content updates, not set and forget. Problem solved, folks. Why do you think you've got it on your website? So what you do is you build a site like the rug site. It's all about rugs. Then they put another AI assistant on their site, all about their product, their price, everything else. Someone asks a question there, it writes up to there. It's giving live information. You can go and add questions if you like. You can edit questions. You can do a question run if you've got a new product. You can introduce it that way, just by typing it in. You don't have to create pages, no web skill needed. It is being super effective. But customers are creating your content. It's turning it over. It's keeping it fresh. That's why Wikipedia ranks well. That's what they're talking about. It's owning the conversation. Scalability high. Each conversation is new and an indexable page, okay? So the categories are created by research. The information goes on that page. Okay, if OST system can reproduce for your niche what Sutherland Online achieved, then 5K is an acceptable marketing level bet. Not a wild gamble. You're essentially buying a machine that writes your long-tail content for you forever. I rest my case. Okay, I just wanted to cover this in the video to basically show you that the things that are changing that I've been talking about, you really need to start looking at. Number one, browsers. It's not just Google anymore. It won't just be social media anymore because a company like OpenAI have just come along and literally changed the ballgame. And they have got close on 1 billion users and in growing, right? The range of products that they do. But they're not alone. You've got Perplexity, you've got Claude, you've got Gemini. These are creating a distribution of people using different LLMs, but they're using LLMs. They're not just going to Google anymore. They're not just going to Facebook anymore. Facebook is under huge stress now with this new social media that you can basically put yourself anywhere and your friends and create anything. I have an interesting query for you, okay? So there was a lot of talk about Sora 2. And Sora 2 was like, oh, we can use copyrighted material. I can create SpongeBob. I can create, John Lennon singing one of my songs. It's going to be a nightmare for people and intellectual property. Folks, forget intellectual property. If you're a songwriter and you've listened to music all your life and you like a particular artist and you write your own songs like they do. You go to uni, you've got to write an essay. And you study and read 100 books. You are only paraphrasing and putting in your language what they've done. This is the truth. It doesn't matter how much you think you own your intellectual property. You don't. If it's on the internet and AI is trained on it and it wants to do something similar, it will. So here's my theory. Might be a bit wild, but who knows? If you're Sam Altman and you've got access to the highest super intelligence AI and you decided you were going to release an app that is going to change the world, going to change the way things are done, you can take a picture of yourself, take a picture of your family with their permission or their friends. It is you gets injected into this new world of social media or whatever you want to call it. You're interacting with your friends. You can copy, all right, I want to sing with John Lennon. Arms in arms around John Lennon. Oh, SpongeBob SquarePants. I want to create a commercial about this. Whatever. And you said to your supercomputer, am I better releasing this and facing the court cases or am I not? And your supercomputer goes, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, by the time it gets through to this, by the time it does that, by the time they file this suit, this precedent over here says that, it knows everything about everything. And it says, Sam, go ahead and do it. You're going to revolutionise the world. I know that sounds far-fetched, but this is the power of having the intelligence, buying the intelligence. The more intelligence you've got, the better decisions you can make. That's just a bit of an aside. I'm getting off the track here. Okay, I'll leave it there for now. I just wanted to show to you that right now is the time to take action. You really need to, number one, understand what AI can do. Number two, realize these changes are happening now. This is not like a slow burn. 1 month literally is like 6 months now. In fact, it's probably even more in some advances. If you go back just a year to see what's happened in a year, it's probably 10 years worth of development. What is the next year going to be like? And the next year, okay? So, thanks very much for your time. I'll stop ranting and raving now, but I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. Please contact me if you're interested, because you can see that I've got a product and I'm more than happy to talk about AI. I have got a website, owntheconversation.com. Visit me there, book in a time to have a chat. We'll talk about your business. This doesn't cost the earth, this stuff, but you need to implement it, and it's a start. Think of it as a start of your road trip to AI, the AI future that you are going to be living in and you're living in now. All right, thanks for your time. I'll see you in the next one.